Welcome friends to A Shot of Code. Today we are going to be looking at Polymer 3 and specifically what is new. Now there's two main things that I'm aware of. HTML imports have been removed. We're now importing using ES6 modules. And Bower is no longer being used. It's now NPM. So yeah, quite a big change. Let's see if we can put together a really basic Polymer 3 components. So the first thing you need is to have yarn or npm installed. Once you've got that, we can pull in the Polymer package. We need the @next branch. It's still not, it's still pre-release at the moment, so we need to add that tag on, get the latest stuff. Okay, so that should have pulled in Polymer and web components, which is our polyfills. So let's create, so we're going to create a very simple web component. We'll call it my app. So we've got that there. Now, to put one of these together, we need to have a class, and we will call it the same name, my app, and it needs to extend Polymer element. Like so. So we're going to need to pull that in. So now we're using ES6 modules. We can do an import. We pull in the element object and rename it as Polymer element. This will change in the full release. It will just be called Polymer element. We need to do this rename. And we do the rename to ensure we don't conflict with the built-in element object. So we pull that in from, in the latest release, not only are we using ES6 modules, but we're now using bare module specifier. So we don't need to put the path in anymore. We should be able to just go @Polymer, and Polymer, and we do need to still, for these ones, specify the file that we're going to bring in. You know, for most Node applications, there'll be in the package.json, there'll be an entry specifying what file to bring in by default. That isn't the case with Polymer, so you need to put the actual file name in there. Right, that should allow us now to do the extend. So there's just a couple of things we need in here. We need a constructor, which we need to call super on. It's a standard boilerplate for Polymer components. And then to give the visual appearance of your component, we create a static getter for template. So Polymer will be looking for this function on your class, and in here we can simply return this is my app. So that will get added into, there'll be shadow DOM on your component. This text will be simply added to the inner HTML of that shadow DOM. So there's lots of other things we can do here, but in terms of getting a basic component up and running, that is how we import it in the class. We need to register it. So it's a custom elements define, and we give the name of our components. Notice how we've got the hyphen in there, so all custom elements have to have a hyphen in there just to make sure we don't conflict with any future HTML elements that are added to the spec. And we pass in the class that implements it. So let's save that off. We're going to need a file to display this in so we can see how it looks. So we'll create, we'll create an index.html, and in here we need to import our component. So again, we're not using HTML imports anymore, so it's a script, and we just point it to my app. We do need to say it's type module, because that gives us ES6 import ability within that JavaScript file. You know, before ES6 imports, you couldn't pull in other files within your JavaScript file, but now you can. We're able to do that import in there. And then we can say my component is below, and we'll put my app there. So we'll save all of that off. Now if I start up a web server on 8080, we will see what is missing, because there's always something missing. Okay. That off. So it's not showing. We've got a couple of errors here. My app. Okay, I lost my JS on auto completion, I think. Right, now the bare modifiers is not by default shown implemented as yet on Polymer. We're on pre-release 10, on pre-release 11 that'll be the case, but for now we need to enable this with polyserve module resolution equal node. Now that should allow us to have this bare ES6 import. Okay, still. Oh yeah, okay. Now we're on 8081. So let's close this one, and we'll use our polyserve web server. Okay. All right. This is my app now. Let's have a quick look in the elements here, so we can see my app. You can see it's got shadow root. It's added a shadow root to it. Inside there is the div tag that we added. So that is the very basics of putting one of these together. I'll probably do a series of these where we add some more details in, so we can add some properties in and maybe bringing in other components and so on. But for this episode, that's it. Thanks very much.